What's up, everybody? It's your boy Nick here from Combat Sports today for the UFC 302 breakdown and quick picks for you. No Mike this week, so I'm going to do y'all a favor and just buzz through all these picks because, I know no one just wants to listen to me ramble. So let's get right into it. Andre Lima versus Mitch Raposo. I love this fight, and I love it for a few different reasons. Mitch Raposo is someone that really only loses to good grapplers, or at least subpar decent grapplers. Shaldovic Latakan, I know I slaughtered that pronunciation, but if you watch the Ultimate Fighter season, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And then also Jake Hadley, even though Jake Hadley was kind of boxing his ears off up until he got to the point of the submission finish. With that being said here, I really like Andre Lima. As long as he can keep his back off the cage here and avoid getting bitten. I'm just kidding there. But just being real with you, I think Andre Lima has some of the best striking in the 125 division. I think people are going to learn really fast about him. I love Andre Lima here by finish. And if you like him as a parlay piece, him at minus 205, not the worst odds. If you like the under, though, under two and a half is at plus 120 odds right now. Really like that for Andre Lima. With that being said here, I am going to skip over the Jocelyn Edwards-Eileen Perez fight. Have zero lean nor zero care for that fight, if I'm being real with you. Mickey Gall versus Basil Hafez. This is going to be either my best or worst call of the week because I'm going purely based off a heart call. I'm going to take Mickey Gall here at plus 285, the guy with the more veteran experience, the guy that wasn't looking bad against Mike Mallet up until he got face planted, if we're being real. Alex Morono's a loss that I also rate very highly too as well. Mickey Gall's been someone that's had to put through the wood chipper in terms of a strength of the schedule, clearly outside of a guy like, CM Punk and things of that nature. But Rafael Baez is someone that is a pure can crusher, solid overhand right, and yes, his fight against JDM, while it was a good showing against JDM pulled 28,000 guillotines in that fight. And pulling guillotine is always a recipe for disaster in MMA, as long with pulling heel hooks and things of that nature. So with that being said, I am going to take Mickey Gall, who I think is a solid submission grappler. As long as his chin holds up here, I can see him edging out at least 2 or 3 rounds, quite frankly. With that being said, moving on. Alex Morono versus Nico Price. Nico Price is someone that's great, lives in the chaos, has some of my most favorite classic fights against Vicente Luque too as well, has the craziest knockage you've ever seen from different angles, but he doesn't know how to use his length. He punches from awkward angles. I feel like it's impossible for him to throw an outright straight punch due to his shoulders, like the literal build of his shoulders. He doesn't wrestle well. He ends up on his back when he does try to offensively wrestle. Alex Morono here is someone that listens to his coaching in Said Saud. He's damn near like a UFC player out there in terms. If you push X, he's going to throw the jab. It's absolutely beautiful. He's good, solid, straight punches down the middle, has a wicked-ass guillotine and a wicked front choke too as well. Alex Morono by submission here is something to sprinkle too. Alex Morono by submission at plus 550 is something I really like, especially in a degenerate play. Outright though, I think the over 1.5 here is a safe play at minus 190 if you want to put it into a parlay. And I think Alex Morono here is definitely the clear-cut winner. I think Nico Price is done, man. At this point, he's fighting for his family. He's fighting for the paycheck. I could be completely wrong there. He could just like to fight in general, but I don't think Nico Price has the skills to match up with someone like Alex Morono, who may not be a world beater, may not be a top 15 fighter, but I rate him pretty highly for a welterweight. Moving on. Philip Rowe versus Jake Matthews. I think this fight is pretty clear-cut. If Jake Matthews can keep it standing, I think he's going to box Philip Rowe's ears off and work that body. The thing is Phil Rowe gets into a lot of good grappling scenarios. He goes into not only competition grappling, which I appreciate here, but he's always active and jumping to different gyms, just experiencing and experimenting with other MMA talent. I think if Philip Rowe can get this fight to the ground, especially utilize some of his cage wrestling that we saw in that split against Neil Magny, also heavy hands that we saw in that split against Neil Magny too as well, I think that he can cause Jake Matthews issue. All in all, I do like Phil Rowe here to get it done at plus 136, but don't be surprised to see Jake Matthews box his ear off if he keeps it standing and keep it off the fence. So, Grant Dawson versus Joe Solecki. Quite frankly, I don't want to touch this fight from a betting standpoint. I don't like watching either one of these fighters fight. Joe Solecki is someone that's too comfortable to play off his back. He's someone that really wants to get to the fight to the floor, and he will desperately wrestle for that reason. Grant Dawson at damn near 4-1 favorite is something I don't want to touch anytime. He's chinny. I don't think he has cardio issues. I think he just pushes himself so hard in the first few rounds that he will fade later in fights. All in all, Grant Dawson should get this done, probably by late round finish. But the issue is Joe Solecki at plus 1,000 by submission is juicy to say the least. I'm talking Big Papa juicy, you know what I'm saying? So It's one of those things that you really want to stay away from, but if you want to make a degenerate parlay, Joe Solecki by submission at plus 1,000 is definitely sick at 10-1 odds. So, Roman Kopylov versus Cesar Almeida. Whichever side of the fence you're on for this fight, you're happy as hell because you're getting even money. Minus 112 for Cesar Almeida, minus 108 here for Roman Kopylov. Roman Kopylov has a sick open side body kick. You can throw the body kick really from either stance. The issue is when he's retracting and playing defense, especially along the fence line, he crosses his own feet and he trips over himself. Cesar Almeida has a dirty, grimy clinch game that he likes to get really in people's faces, make it really mucky, and he hits hard as hell. Doesn't have a great MMA record. I mean, he has a win against a guy that's 5-38-1. It's absolutely horrendous. But Roman Kopylov doesn't have great wrestling either. I don't think the V at the end of his name really matches to the wrestling strength. I think Cesar Kopylov can keep his ass off the fence here. I'm going to take Cesar Almeida here. I think the UFC wants him to win. I think he's going to win in some sort of clinch exchange or some sort of... Well, one, I will say for this fight, not to go the distance at minus 165, I think that's a hammer spot. And for Cesar Almeida to win inside the distance at plus 105 is another great spot too as well. So I'm going to take Cesar Almeida here myself. Kevin Holland versus Michelle Oleksiejczuk. How did I just jump a million fights? Either way, I'm going to talk about Kevin Holland versus Michelle O real quick, and then we'll jump back to it here. I think Kevin Holland, if he were to stick to any sort of game plan, he wins this fight any way he wants. If he wants to strike this guy, I think he pinpoint strikes him from the outside. I think he jab 1-2s and keeps it moving. And then I think he finishes him in the third round. If he wanted to grapple this guy and have any sort of wrestling game plan, I think he takes him down and I think he darces him or takes his back, chokes him out with ease. Because Kevin Holland has a sick grappling game, man. He never uses it. Good MMA guard where he uses the MMA guard to shield up from K guard and get up, or he will use it to itself to attack. I can see a club and sub here by Kevin Holland here. The only thing is Kevin Holland's always one of those fighters that has all the tools to be one of the best in the world, yet I think he has some of the worst fight IQ in the world. And it may not even be fight IQ, just may be outright he just likes to go in there, scrap, and not stick to a game plan and just show us how big his dick is. In this case here, though, I will take Kevin Holland by finish at minus 105. I think he can get it done either which way. I just don't know which way he can get it done. That's the only issue is if we were to know exactly what game plan he was going into it, because I know he always says wrestling makes him tired, but if someone panic shoots on him, then he's going to go for the front choke. So Kevin Holland by finish here. I love it a lot. Michelle Oleksiejczuk, someone that does fade in the later rounds, and it's not even always due to what he does. He's someone that has chin issues too as well that we've seen time and time again, and he bullies a lot of cans too, especially low-level UFC fighters. So I like Kevin Holland here. I think this is a get-right spot for him. And quite frankly, I think Kevin Holland any way he wants. Randy Brown versus Alexi Dos Santos. I think Randy Brown gets it done here by some sort of front choke. I think Alexi Dos Santos has been a beneficiary of his later opponents gassing out and really overworking himself. Dos Santos doesn't have the punching power he once did at 155 too as well. He no longer works the body, which is extremely strange, especially against someone Randy Brown that has the frame to work the body. Reminds me of one of those crickets from the Men in Black series. I can see Alexi Dos Santos eventually off teep kicks and getting frustrated from the long jab of Randy Brown. As we're seeing his boxing getting more and more crisp by Rude Boy, I can see him getting frustrated and shooting a desperation shot. And amongst that desperation shot, Randy Brown shooting a ninja choke, a front choke, a darce choke, something of that nature, maybe even a ghillie. I like Randy Brown here, and I like Randy Brown by submission at plus 800. Randy Brown is a great parlay piece any which way you want to split it in minus 180. I think the value there is incredible, especially at less than 2-1 odds. So give me Rude Boy all day. Jailton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. I love this fight, and I love this fight for a few reasons. If you go look at Jailton Almeida's Contender Series fight, he got flat-backed by his opponent in the first round in a dry moment, and that was at 205. If he does that against Alexander Romanov by any chance, he's going to be fucked. I don't think that necessarily happens, but I think Alexander Romanov is going to make it very interesting, especially in the first round. The way I would play this, especially, there's no way I'm touching Almeida 5-1 odds, and his finish props are 2-1 odds, which, what the fuck? I'm sorry, not even 2-1, minus 500 and minus 200, not an underdog odds. Those are minus numbers. Gets me fucking going. So I think the way you play this is you watch it live. You hope that Alexander Romanov can defend at least one or two of these takedowns, which most people haven't been able to, especially when he gets in deep on the legs. You hope that he can keep it standing here in a striking because Alexander Romanov does participate in multiple grappling tournaments. We have seen him give people fits, especially in the first round too as well, but he does tend to fade. So if you get any sort of good line anywhere minus 200, minus 150, even plus odds on Jailton Almeida by chance that in the first few minutes that he becomes a dog. I would love to take Jailton Almeida at dog odds here. He was dominating Curtis Blades and taking him down at will up until he wasn't with the elbows. I mean, getting your head smashed in on the side of a cage by a huge heavyweight like that, no shame in it. And Alexander Romanov, while he is big, he doesn't have the powerful, heavy striking. He doesn't really have the factor of fear in that sense. As long as he doesn't end up on top of Jailton Almeida should clear here. I just really hope that he does offend a few takedowns so I can take it live because I can't take it any other way besides that. Co-main event time, baby. Sean Strickland versus Paul Costa, my favorite prop of the week. Sean Strickland, TKO, KO, rounds 4 and 5 on FanDuel, plus 1,000. 10-1 odds for Sean Strickland, once again, KO, TKO, rounds 4 and 5. Paulo Costa, I think the weight cut's finally time to affect him. He doesn't take fighting as seriously as I think some people would like him to take fighting in. He throws, and let's just get to the X's and O's for it. He doesn't set up his kicks. He throws looping shots. And every single of his last few fights, I feel like have been good setup spots for him to win. He hasn't found really a straight puncher, someone with an incredible jab, and someone with a high stamina volume pace that Sean Strickland will have. Paul Costa will probably clear round 1, no doubt about it. Rounds 2 and 3 will kind of be a middling, plaguing round. And then I see it being a shitstorm and a sand dust coming all the way from Sean Strickland. He's going to batter his ass around 4 and 5, and I think it'd finish probably somewhere mid-5, possibly somewhere, early 5, something of that nature. But I love Sean Strickland. Knockout TKO around 4 and 5 here. Shout out to my boy TJ. I just got to give him a shout out because his early read on this fight is Paulo Costa. So if Paulo Costa does win, I wanted to give him his props before this fight happens too as well. I just don't know, man. And it is too as well. I think I do overrate Sean Strickland and underrate Paulo Costa in a way. Because Paulo Costa has shown us in a few of his performances that he's not washed. And he really isn't the big hulking monster that we think he are. Yeah, he loops his hooks and things of that nature. But he has good stamina and good head movement. And his shell against the cage is actually pretty incredible. The thing is, against someone like Sean Strickland, who's going to throw multiple jabs and multiple straight shots down the pipe, and when he starts working that front kick to the body, I think it will cause issues, especially someone like Sean Strickland, who's so defensively sound and can stay away from those power shots coming back from Paulo Costa. So I like Sean Strickland here. I like his money line a lot. I like him by finish a lot, but I love him. I love that plus 1,000 prop. So Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. Fuck. Fuck. Islam inside the distance at plus 105. It's just hard not to take someone. It's hard to take someone like Dustin who gives up his back against the best position to submission grappler in the UFC. Someone with disgusting ground and pound, maybe not ground and pound, but he will ground his pound into a way of a submission that will leave you in a vulnerable position. He will also go from transition to transition, which I love. And Dustin Poirier is someone that, yeah, he'll jump the guillotine. And if he truly does jump the guillotine in this game, which I think Islam will absolutely give up the guillotine for, it's going to be bad night for him because he's going to end up from a half guard position, get into side control to a full mount. And he's either going to get Americana'd and get his shoulder taken home with him, or he's going to get rear naked choked and finished. I like Islam inside the distance here. Once a fighter starts talking about retirement like Dustin Poirier has, I think it's time. Now, would I love Dustin Poirier to win this? Fuck yes. Am I betting this fight? Fuck no, I'm going to enjoy it. And if I do bet this fight, I got to be honest with you, I'm probably going to take a slight sprinkle on Dustin Poirier plus 4-1 odds. So, but fuck yeah, y'all. Nothing but love, peace, and chicken grease, baby. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.